Okay, so I have to ask, in our last episode of Celebrity Real Estate, we were discussing celebrities like Ellen DeGeneres, who allegedly decided to leave the country after Trump won the presidential election back in November. Then we switched to the opposite side of the table and talked about celebrities like Oprah, who not only campaigned and supported the Democratic campaign, but once they lost, she said, "Oh well, I'm not going anywhere," and is buying up as much real estate as she can get her hands on.
For today's episode, let's switch it up a bit. When we think about celebrities who decide to move out of the US or stay, what confuses me is one certain celebrity who should have taken some advice from Ellen DeGeneres and gotten the hell out the country but didn't is Mr. Johnson & Johnson himself.
Oh, you mean the baby oil king?
That's right, Mr. Sean P. Diddy Combs.
Let's talk about some of these massive properties he used to commit these freak-offs, allegedly.
Oh god, this is going to be interesting.
But first, let's drop the intro.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's the moment you've all been waiting for. Welcome to the place, the exclusive place, the place where we talk nothing but real estate. Why real estate? Because real estate is everything. When you wake up in the morning, you are in somebody's real estate. When you go to work, go shopping, go out to eat, go to sleep, you are in somebody's real estate. When you lay down at night, you only got 3 choices. You can be renting the place, owning the place, or you sleeping on somebody's couch, but it's still real estate. More people become millionaires in this country through real estate than any other method. So that's what we aim to discuss. Welcome to House Talk. Let's get it.
Welcome to HouseTalk, your go-to source for everything real estate. From breaking market headlines to jaw-dropping celebrity home buys, we've got the stories that keep you ahead of the curve. But it's more than just news. We're here to help you build wealth, grow your portfolio, and navigate this ever-changing real estate market with confidence. Whether you're a first-time buyer, a seasoned investor, or just real estate curious, you're in the right place. So grab a seat, tune in, and let's turn today's market into your next big opportunity.
All right, so today we're diving into Sean Diddy Combs' real estate holdings.
Oh yeah, this'll be fun.
Yeah, and specifically, we're going to be kind of looking at some of the properties where he's alleged to have thrown those controversial freak-off parties while he awaits trial.
Oh boy.
And the timing is really kind of interesting because he's still trying to sell his LA mansion for a whopping $61.5 million.
Wow.
But at one point, an investor did offer him less than half.
Really?
So what is going on there?
Yeah, what's the deal with that?
Yeah.
To really get a handle on this situation, we need to start with the properties themselves.
Okay, so let's go to the Miami compound first.
Let's do it.
He's got this place on Star Island, which I hear is super exclusive.
Oh, it's incredibly exclusive. We're talking about an island where billionaires like Ken Griffin and celebrities like Alex Rodriguez own homes. So Diddy buys his first mansion there back in 2003.
Okay.
For $14.5 million.
Okay, still a lot of money.
Which is already a hefty sum.
Yeah.
But then get this. In 2021, he buys the mansion next door. For $35 million. Wow, it's almost unbelievable.
So we're talking about a $48.5 million compound in Miami.
Yes.
And this is actually the property that he tried to use as collateral for bail, right?
Exactly. But the judge denied it, saying he was a flight risk. Oh, wow. I mean, the mansion even has its own boat dock.
Of course it does.
So you can see where the judge might have been coming from.
Makes sense to me. If I had Diddy's money and they let me out on bail, first person I'm calling when I touch down is some of my Haitian drug trafficking buddies to bring a boat to come scoop me at the house and get me the hell out of here. But let's move on to the property he's trying to sell.
Okay.
The Holmby Hills mansion in Los Angeles. This one seems to be at the center of the controversy.
All right. This is a big one.
Yeah.
It really is. He bought this place back in 2014 for $39 million.
Okay.
It's massive, 17,000 square foot estate, 9 bedrooms, and a lagoon-style pool.
Oh my goodness.
the kind of place that's built for entertaining.
Sounds like it.
It does.
And this is where things get really interesting. Diddy listed this house for $61.5 million in September, and an investor offered him $30 million for it, less than half the asking price.
That's crazy. What do you make of that?
Yeah, what is that about?
Well, it's an incredibly low offer, and it definitely raises some questions.
Yeah.
This investor is known for buying properties with controversial pasts, like Kanye West's Malibu beach house,
Oh, right.
which had been left in just terrible disrepair. So it seems like he's willing to take risks on properties that others might shy away from.
So is he just trying to snag a deal, or is there more to it?
That's the million-dollar question, right? Is he betting he can kind of erase the stigma associated with these alleged freak-off parties and then flip the mansion for a profit later?
Oh.
It's a bold strategy, to say the least.
Yeah, it is. All right, let's talk about these parties. What exactly are the allegations, and how are they connected to these properties?
Well, the authorities are claiming that Diddy hosted these parties at both the Holmby Hills and the Star Island homes.
At both.
And they're described in these legal documents as, like, elaborate,
Wow.
and produced sex performances that allegedly involved coercion, drug abuse, and sex workers, allegedly.
Oh, wow. Okay, and what kind of evidence have they presented to support these claims?
Well, during the raids on the properties, they're reporting that they found drugs, guns, and enough baby oil to fill an Olympic-sized swimming pool.
What?
Yep, over 1,000 bottles.
Oh, wow. Diddy likes to party, but you got to tell him no.
It's worth noting that Diddy has denied these allegations, calling them meritless.
Of course he has.
But the legal battle is ongoing. It's a pretty serious situation.
Do you think these allegations are what's driving down the value of the Holmby Hills mansion?
It's definitely a factor. I mean, potential buyers are probably hesitant to purchase a property with such a controversial history, even if the allegations are ultimately proven false.
Yeah, that makes sense. It seems like this situation is putting Diddy in a tough spot. He's facing a trial, trying to sell a valuable property, and dealing with all this negative publicity.
Absolutely. And there's another wrinkle to this story that I think is worth mentioning.
Okay, let's hear it.
Diddy actually paid off the $18.8 million mortgage on his Miami mansion just before his arrest.
Now that's interesting. Why would he do that?
Well, it seems like a strategic move to protect his assets.
Okay.
In case of legal trouble, Florida has a Homestead Act, which protects a homeowner's primary residence from being seized in most circumstances.
Oh, so he was thinking ahead, even amidst all the alleged partying.
So by paying off the mortgage, he basically shielded that property from potential creditors. He knew all these lawsuits were coming.
It's a reminder that even for someone like Diddy, legal and financial considerations are never far from mind. Even if your idea of fun is making everyone at the party take their clothes off and get covered in lubricant, allegedly.
Precisely. And it brings us to another key question. How much did these alleged freak-off parties really impact Diddy's overall financial situation?
Right. That's a great question, and to answer it, I think we need to look at Diddy's other real estate holdings.
Was he truly living beyond his means, or is this just a blip on the radar for someone with his level of wealth?
He's owned properties all over the country, right?
He has, from New York to New Jersey to right here in Atlanta. Diddy's real estate portfolio over the years is pretty impressive.
Let's dive into those properties next. Maybe it'll give us a better understanding of his overall financial strategy and how these allegations might impact his empire.
Sounds like a plan. After all, every property tells a story. And in Diddy's case, those stories seem to be intertwined with both luxury and legal drama. It really is fascinating to look at how these properties reflect, different stages of Diddy's life and career.
It's true.
For instance, he once owned this beachfront retreat.
Oh, wow.
In the Hamptons, which, really kind of fits that image of a music mogul at the top of his game.
Totally, but then there's the Toluca Lake property.
Yes.
The one he bought for Kim Porter, the mother of 3 of his children.
Right.
And that story has a much different feel to it.
It really does. It's a reminder that even amidst all the wealth and the extravagance,
Right.
there's a human side to this story.
Yeah.
Kim sadly passed away at that property in 2018.
Oh, wow.
From pneumonia.
That's incredibly sad. It's easy to get caught up in the details of these mansions and these legal battles, but it's important to remember the real lives involved.
Absolutely. And while the Toluca Lake property holds a lot of emotional weight,
Okay.
there's another property that speaks volumes about Diddy's business acumen.
Okay, what's that?
A condo overlooking the Miami skyline. He purchased this condo at the height of the real estate boom,
And
sold it a few years later for a significant profit.
so he's not just buying these properties for show, he's actually making strategic investments.
Exactly. He's demonstrating a shrewd understanding of the real estate market. And then there's that mansion in New Jersey that he reportedly tried to sell for years before finally finding a buyer.
It sounds like he's had his fair share of wins and losses in the real estate game, just like anyone else.
Just like you and me, right?
Exactly, it humanizes him a bit, doesn't it?
It does. He's not just this untouchable icon.
Right.
He's someone who's made smart and maybe not so smart decisions when it comes to real estate.
It makes you wonder if those decisions, especially the ones related to those freak-off parties, are going to catch up with him in the long run.
That's the big question, right?
Yeah.
Will these allegations tarnish his reputation to the point where it affects his future business ventures?
Yeah.
Including his ability to buy and sell property.
Especially with that lowball offer on the Holmby Hills mansion.
Right.
It seems like potential buyers are sensing an opportunity to capitalize on Diddy's current situation.
Yeah, it's certainly possible. The investor who made the offer has a history of buying properties with controversial pasts and turning them around for a profit. Remember the Kanye West Malibu beach house?
Oh, yeah.
West had essentially gutted the place. It looked horrible.
Right, I remember.
And that buyer swooped in, bought it for a fraction of the original price.
Wow.
And is now restoring it.
Yeah, that's right. I remember that story. It was a huge controversy because the house was so trashed, Kanye must have been on drugs when he tried to decorate it.
Yes.
That property was a design disaster.
Yeah.
Diddy's mansion, on the other hand, is still a stunning property. So was this investor really trying to get a steal? Or was he underestimating the lasting impact of these freak-off party allegations?
It's a gamble, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
I mean, if he can successfully rebrand the property and detach it from the negative publicity of all that baby oil, he could make a killing.
Right.
But if the scandal continues to make headlines, and potential buyers are wary of the property's past,
Yeah.
he could be stuck with a very expensive liability.
It's like he's betting on Diddy's future, isn't it?
It is. Or the lack thereof.
If Diddy can clear his name and move past this chapter, the mansion's value will likely rebound.
Right.
But if things go south,
Yeah.
that investor might end up regretting that lowball offer.
Exactly. It highlights this interconnectedness of wealth, reputation, and real estate.
It really does.
You know, Diddy's wealth allowed him to acquire these extraordinary properties, but his alleged actions have now put those properties at risk. His reputation, which was once a major asset, is now a huge potential liability that could impact his entire real estate portfolio.
It's a fascinating and complex web, and it raises a crucial question. What does this all mean for Diddy's future in real estate?
Well, that's too early to say for sure. But one thing's for certain, this entire situation has put a spotlight on the potential consequences of unchecked wealth.
Okay.
And the importance your reputation plays in the world of high-end real estate.
That's a really good point. Yeah, it's a stark reminder that even for someone as wealthy and influential as Diddy, actions have consequences, and those consequences can extend far beyond the courtroom. What you do in the bedroom can affect the value of your real estate portfolio.
I couldn't agree more.
Okay, so we've talked about the Miami compound, the Holmby Hills mansion, and even some of Diddy's other properties.
Right.
But I feel like there's still something missing here.
What's that?
Something that might help us understand why these freak-off parties happen in the first place.
Okay, what do you have in mind?
Well, we know Diddy's incredibly wealthy and successful.
He is.
He's got this amazing real estate portfolio. He's a music mogul, a fashion icon. Right, so with all his money and so much to lose, what's the motivation behind these alleged parties?
Yeah.
What's the end game here?
That's a question that, psychologists and sociologists might be better equipped to answer.
Okay.
But I think it speaks to a larger issue of power dynamics and the culture of excess that often surrounds fame and fortune. Sure. When you have immense wealth and influence, it can distort your perception of reality. Boundaries become blurred, and you may feel entitled to certain things regardless of the consequences.
So you're saying that Diddy's alleged actions could be a symptom of a larger societal problem?
It's certainly a possibility worth considering. We live in a culture that often glorifies wealth and power and kind of turns a blind eye to the abuses that can occur when those things go unchecked.
It's a sobering thought, and it makes you wonder if this kind of behavior is more widespread than we realize.
It's definitely something to think about. But for now, we can only focus on the facts as we know them, and let the legal process run its course.
Right, so to sum it all up,
Okay.
we've got Diddy, a hip-hop mogul with a penchant for lavish properties. Facing serious charges related to these alleged freak-off parties, he's trying to sell his LA mansion. But an investor known for buying controversial properties has made a lowball offer, perhaps sensing an opportunity amidst the scandal.
And as this legal drama unfolds, Diddy's vast real estate holdings are hanging in the balance, potentially serving as collateral damage in this complex and troubling story.
It's a reminder that even the most impressive real estate portfolio can't shield you from the consequences of your actions.
And that the pursuit of wealth and excess can sometimes lead to a very dark place.
Well, that's certainly a thought-provoking note to end on. Any final words of wisdom for our listeners as they process this deep dive?
I'd say be mindful of the power dynamics that exist in our society.
Yeah,
And always question the motives of those who wield great wealth and influence. And if you're ever at a party and the host brings out bottles of baby oil and drugs, run.
excellent advice, and as always, stay curious, keep asking questions, and never stop diving deep. But on a more serious note, this whole deep dive has been really eye-opening,
It has.
and it shows us a lot about people.
Think so.
It's a reminder that even those who seem to have it all can be brought down by their own choices, and that those fancy things can't protect us from the consequences of our actions.
Yeah, I agree with that.
This has been a wild ride. I'm still thinking about everything we've learned.
Me too.
But before we wrap things up with Diddy, I have one last thing I want to share. Okay, we've talked a lot about Diddy's properties and how these allegations are affecting him. But what about the people who are allegedly involved in those parties?
Yeah.
Their stories haven't really been told. And I think it's important to remember that behind all the headlines and legal battles and even the jokes, there are real people who might have been hurt.
That's an important point. It's easy to get lost in all the drama, but we can't forget about the people affected.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So as you continue to follow this story and his upcoming trial, I hope you think not just about the houses and the millions of dollars, right? But also about the people whose lives have been touched by this whole scandal.
Well said. It's so unfortunate. It's a reminder that even in the world of celebrity and wealth, there are real human stories that we should pay attention to.
Absolutely. And on that note,
Yeah.
we'll leave you to think about all the different aspects of this crazy story. But moving on, here lately, I've really been thinking deep into the world of Elon Musk since he's been in the news, but not space rockets or electric cars.
No?
I've been going down a totally different rabbit hole.
Oh, what's that?
Yeah, his relationship with real estate.
Oh, wow.
And it's surprisingly complicated.
Really?
Yeah, so imagine going from owning all these crazy mansions like Diddy
Okay.
to basically owning nothing. That's Elon Musk.
So, like a minimalist.
Yeah, exactly. There's like two completely different Elon Musks.
Right.
Like, which one are we even talking about?
Yeah.
So to understand this whole shift,
Okay.
let's rewind back to the beginning.
Back in the day.
Yeah, back when Musk was building this crazy impressive real estate portfolio.
Oh, wow.
What kind of places are we talking about here?
Well, picture this. The Bel Air mansion. 7 bedrooms, 13 bathrooms, and get this. A brick ceiling in the kitchen.
A brick ceiling?
Yeah.
In the kitchen?
Uh-huh. He bought it for $17 million.
What?
And it even had a view overlooking the Bel Air Country Club.
Oh, wow, that's serious luxury.
Right.
A ceiling, though, I gotta ask.
It's a choice.
It's a choice, right? Like when you're a billionaire, I guess you can have eccentric taste.
You can pretty much do whatever you want.
Yeah, exactly. And speaking of eccentric,
Yes, it's a choice.
Gene Wilder's former estate.
Oh, yeah.
Musk bought that for $6.75 million.
I remember that.
But instead of living in it, he turned it into a private school
Wait a minute, a school?
called Ad Astra.
So he's living out like a richy rich fantasy.
Basically.
Wow.
He eventually did sell it, though,
Oh, really?
to Wilder's nephew's wife
Okay,
for $7 million.
got it.
He even gave her a loan for it.
Wow, that's crazy, but hold on. There's a twist.
Always a twist.
He filed a notice of default on that loan later.
Oh, no.
And that house ended up back on the market,
Really?
listed for $9.5 million.
So even after selling it, he was still kind of involved?
Yeah, it's like this weird financial entanglement. That makes you think a little bit more about this whole minimalist thing.
You're right. Like, what's the motivation there? Exactly. Was it just business or something else?
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got a Bel Air mansion with a very interesting kitchen choice.
Yes.
We've got a celebrity home turned private school. What other real estate gems did he have?
He definitely liked Bel Air because he bought another property there for $24.25 million while it was still being built.
Wow.
And then later he sold 4 properties in Bel Air for a total of $62.5 million.
He was really playing the real estate game.
He was.
But there's one that stands out to me.
Okay.
Like, this is even more grand? A 100-year-old estate in Hillsborough.
Right.
What's the deal with that one?
That one's huge. It's like 47 acres, 9 bedrooms, 9.5 bathrooms, hiking trails, canyons, a ballroom, even a reservoir.
A reservoir?
Yeah, like your own personal reservoir.
That's wild.
It was listed for $35 million.
Okay.
But then the listing was taken down.
So even with his whole minimalist thing, he's holding on to this massive estate.
Yeah, you gotta wonder what he's thinking.
It seems like what he says and what he does don't always line up perfectly. That's a good point.
And this was around the same time he said he was selling almost all of his possessions,
Oh, right.
including his houses.
I remember that.
So, like, what made him do this dramatic shift from, like, luxury real estate guy to aspiring minimalist?
Well, some think he genuinely wanted to simplify his life. Yeah, get rid of all the stuff. focus on his big goals like going to Mars. And since his ultimate plan is to relocate to Mars, he has no need to own real estate here on Earth.
It's pretty wild to think about, like, going from these crazy mansions to basically nothing.
Yeah, it's a big change.
But some people think maybe it was because of all the criticism about the wealth gap, and concerns about his safety. Like maybe he felt pressure to not be so, like, flashy.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So maybe it was a combo of things.
Right, like a change in his thinking, some outside pressure, and maybe a bit of strategy too.
It's never simple with Elon.
Never.
Just when you think you've got him figured out.
He changes things up.
Speaking of changing things up, what about this whole minimalist thing? Because while he's out there saying he wants less stuff, he's reportedly buying even more property down in Austin, Texas.
Oh, really? In Austin, Texas?
Yeah, it's interesting.
What's up with that?
That's where things get a little more complicated.
All right, well, let's dive into those Austin properties and try to figure out this whole real estate paradox before we wrap up in the next few minutes.
Sounds good.
Okay, so we're trying to solve this mystery of Elon Musk's identity.
Yeah, what's the deal with those properties he's buying in Austin?
Right. See, it seems like a pretty big contradiction to this whole minimalist thing.
It does at first glance. I mean, while he was publicly saying he wants to own less stuff, reports came out that he was buying not one, not two, but 3 mansions.
3 mansions?
Yeah.
Okay, so much for minimalism then.
Well, maybe not so fast. Remember, Musk has been really vocal about declining birth rates. He's even called it a national emergency. Yeah.
Yeah, he thinks people need to have more kids.
Exactly. And he's kind of leading by example.
Yeah, he's got a big family.
Huge family. Yeah, at least 11 kids, we think.
11 kids.
From 3 different mothers.
Okay, that's a lot of mouths to feed.
And a lot of bedrooms.
So maybe these Austin mansions are so he can build a family compound. But with all those kids, maybe he should just put in an offer on Diddy's place.
That's a good idea. At least he would have, like, one big central place where his kids can hang out and he can easily spend time with them.
But then again, with all those kids, it would probably be some sort of liability with all that lingering baby oil residue around the house. Someone might get hurt. But what about that modest $50,000 home I keep hearing about near Starbase?
Oh, right. The one in Boca Chica.
Yeah, you can't fit 11 kids in that.
No, definitely not. That's where I think we see a different side of Musk, his intense focus on work.
Living right next to Starbase.
Exactly. He can be right there in the middle of everything at SpaceX, walking distance from the Starship development.
It reminds me of Diddy wanting to be on house arrest, own his own property, which just so happens to have a boat dock on site, just in case he wants to make a quick getaway. Maybe this minimalist move with Elon isn't really about philosophy. It's more about practicality being close to his work.
I think that's a big part of it. Remember, he said that colonizing Mars is his ultimate goal. Maybe being at Starbase outweighs living in a fancy house. That way, if all hell breaks loose on Earth, he can be the first one to hop on one of his rockets and get out of here.
It's interesting, like, the guy could have any house in the world, but he chooses this small rental. Because it puts him closer to his dreams.
It's a different kind of luxury.
Yeah, I guess so. But what about that huge Hillsborough estate? Any updates on that?
Well, there are rumors that it might be back on the market. Yeah, if that's true, it could mean he's really serious about downsizing, even selling this historic property.
So it seems like Musk is always changing things up. Adjusting his priorities, and his real estate decisions show that.
Right, and just when we think we've got him figured out.
He does something unexpected.
Exactly, so we've seen the fancy properties, the minimalist ideas, the possible family compound, but there's another part of this story that we need to talk about before we go.
Oh yeah, what's that?
His move to Texas and how it's affected the community, especially in Brownsville where Starbase is.
Right. It's one thing to talk about Musk's personal reasons, but we also have to think about how his choices impact other people.
Definitely. Let's explore that in the final part of our deep dive.
So we got to zoom out a bit, look at the bigger picture.
Okay.
What about the impact of all these decisions on other people? Specifically in Brownsville, Texas, where Starbase is.
Yeah, that's important.
So Musk's move to Texas wasn't just like a personal thing.
No, definitely not.
It was a big business move that totally changed Brownsville.
Changed everything.
Yeah, like, think about it. This small coastal city suddenly becomes the center of Musk's space dreams.
Right in the spotlight.
What's that been like for the people who live there?
Well, it's been a mixed bag, to be honest.
Okay, how so?
On one hand, Musk coming in brought a lot of economic activity.
Oh yeah, SpaceX jobs, new people moving in.
Exactly. All that boosts local businesses helps the whole economy grow.
So like a boomtown kind of thing.
Yeah, you could say that, driven by space and, Elon Musk himself.
Right, it all sounds pretty good for Brownsville.
But there's always another side to the story.
Of course, what's the downside?
Well, all these new people moving in puts pressure on the housing market.
Oh yeah, prices go up.
Exactly, and then people who've lived there forever can't afford to stay.
It's a classy problem, right? Development and progress can push people out.
Sadly, yeah.
Are there any other concerns besides housing?
Oh yeah, for sure. Like building Starbase itself raised worries about the environment.
Okay, what kind of worries?
Noise pollution, light pollution, and Starbase is right on the coast.
So disrupting the ecosystem there.
Exactly. It's like the classic battle between progress and preserving what we have.
And all happening in this small Texas town.
Yeah, it's a unique situation.
So how are people in Brownsville feeling about all this?
It's complicated. Some people are excited about the jobs and being part of something big,
Right, being a part of history.
Exactly. But others are worried about their community changing and what might happen in the long run.
It's a good reminder that even these huge, ambitious projects affect real people and real places.
Absolutely.
And that brings us back to Elon Musk.
Yeah, what a journey.
Right, we've seen him as this real estate tycoon, a minimalist, a family man, a workaholic visionary, and now this force for change in Brownsville.
He's hard to pin down.
Yeah, can we even sum him up in one way?
I don't think so. It's tempting to try to categorize him, but maybe he just doesn't fit in a box.
Right, he's complex, driven by his own unique goals, and he goes after them no matter how strange they seem.
Definitely.
He's definitely given us a lot to think about.
He has.
How he views real estate. His impact on communities and this bigger question of how we balance ambition with responsibility of all this technology changing things so fast.
It's a lot to unpack.
Yeah, we might not have all the answers, but just thinking about these questions is important.
It is. I mean, as you keep following Musk, whether it's Mars or changing how we get around with these robot cars and all,
yeah.
remember to think about the bigger picture, the ripple effects beyond just the headlines.
A good point. It's a reminder that even the biggest, most futuristic ideas are still happening in our world.
Yeah.
And every decision, even something as personal as buying a house, can have huge consequences.
Absolutely.
I think that's the biggest takeaway from our deep dive into Elon Musk's real estate.
It's definitely a story with a lot of layers.
It is, for sure.
We'll get back to the show in just a moment, but real quick, are you someone who's ready to take the leap into homeownership but just don't quite know where to start? It can be hard to sift through all the noise and misinformation to find that one piece of knowledge you need in order to achieve a breakthrough towards reaching your real estate dreams in today's market. If you'd rather have a roadmap, expert guidance, and a community of people to help you achieve becoming a homeowner even faster, then we invite you to join us in Xclusive Academy. The Academy is our online community and your ultimate guide to navigating the home buying process, where we've gathered all the tools, courses, coaching, and training you need to take your home ownership plans to the next level. It starts with fixing your credit, and inside this program, the very first thing you get by being a member is free credit repair, where we pair you one-on-one with one of our credit experts who will take a look at your current credit reports. Lay out a detailed roadmap on how to fix your current credit and financial issues so that you can get approved for the best mortgage rates. Since we have licensed mortgage loan officers on our team, we know exactly what your credit needs to look like to qualify for the best programs. You also get access to multiple comprehensive online courses that break down every single step of the home buying process. Need money for down payment? There are currently over 2,000 down payment assistance programs available, so we'll help you find out which ones you qualify for. Monthly Q&A and live coaching sessions in both the group and one-on-one setting where you'll learn directly from our team. You also get access to a private online community where you can connect with like-minded future buyers and share experiences, ask questions, and stay motivated. We work with hundreds of buyers every year, so you'll have access to strategies that work in today's market. So, if you're ready to take our relationship to the next level, work with us directly, and speed up your home ownership journey, join us in the Xclusive Academy. You can join month to month and cancel anytime. To get more details and hop in, go to xclusivelifestyle.net. Exclusive starts with an X, not an E, or just click the link in the description. We look forward to seeing you on the inside. All right, back to the show.
And that's a wrap for this week's edition of Celebrity Real Estate. Let us know in the comments what you thought about the latest moves our celebrity friends are making in the real estate world. Be sure to check out our next episode, where we'll have another amazing lineup to discuss.
This week's segment of Celebrity Real Estate is brought to you by Tesla and the Tesla Motors Automotive family. With 0% APR available on many models, there's a reason Tesla has been named the world's most valuable automaker 4 years in a row, and is the established leader in the electric vehicle market. With acclaimed models like the Model 3, Model X, and the ultra-rugged Cybertruck, Tesla vehicles are standardizing automotive connectivity. And in order for Elon to take advantage of that fire sale on Diddy's real estate properties, he needs several of you to head on down to your local Tesla showroom and test drive that new Model 3. For more details, go to tesla.com or slide into your nearest showroom.
Thank you so much for tuning in to this special celebrity episode of House Talk. We truly hope it has been helpful and maybe even inspiring to you.
In our next episode, we're diving back heavy into real estate and going to show you some homes you can buy right now today with a 500 credit score.
Hold up, did you say 500?
You heard me correctly. If you're credit challenged or you know someone that's dealing with some credit issues, you definitely don't want to miss this.
Then, for our investors, we're making a road trip across multiple states and we're going to show you 10 homes you can buy right now today in places like Georgia, California, Florida, and maybe even Tennessee for $50,000. If you've been thinking about investing, you definitely want to tune in.
Want to live that beach life without needing a passport to make it happen? Well, we're flying you out to the great state of Puerto Rico, where we'll show you the most expensive home you can buy right now on the island.
And then, once you're done getting a facial and your toes manicured and you've had enough laying in the sand, if you want to explore the idea of investing in real estate in Puerto Rico, while we're there, we're going to show you one of the least expensive places you can purchase right now, so get your Venmo ready.
Be sure to share this episode with a friend, and if you want to check us out on social media, connect with us on Instagram at Xclusive_lifestyle or our website, xclusivelifestyle.net.
Be sure to like, follow, and subscribe.
New episodes are released every week, so be sure to tune in next time for another exciting episode of House Talk.
And always remember, when it comes to building wealth, real estate is everything.
Until next time.